Hello, Lovelace. Welcome to today's English lesson, which, as you can see from the LO, is all about understanding our model text. Now, in the last lesson, I invited you to write a biography, and that's exactly what our model text is going to be. This one is a model text about someone who lived at the same time as our focus character for this topic of William Shakespeare. So although our biography is not of William Shakespeare, it is of someone who was around at the same time and was also an author. Okay, so today's lesson is very much you becoming familiar with the text. I'm going to read it through and we're going to pick out some of the key vocabulary. I'm also going to put a copy of this piece of text onto the resources channel of our Teams page. So you can access it anytime you like, have a full read through. Because for future lessons, I won't be reading the whole thing. We'll be focusing on particular sections. So if you want to see the whole thing, you'll need to go to the resources channel within our Teams group. Okay, but here we go. This is the biography of Christopher Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe biography, C 1564 to 1593. Now, C means circa, which basically means about. Records weren't kept as well back then as they are today. So this is an approximation of exactly when he was born and died. Okay. So circa means approximately 1564 to 1593. Christopher Marlowe, also known as Kit, was a poet and playwright at the forefront of the 16th century dramatic Renaissance. While Christopher Marlowe's literary career lasted less than 6 years, and his life only 29 years, his achievements, most notably the play The Tragic History of Dr. Faustus, ensured his lasting legacy. Christopher Marlowe was born in Canterbury around February 26, 1564. This was the day on which he was baptized. He went to King's School and was awarded a scholarship that enabled him to study at Corpus Christi College, Cambridge, from late 1580 until 1587. Marlowe earned his degree in 1584, but in 1587 the university hesitated in granting him his master's degree. Its doubts were set to rest when the Privy Council sent a letter declaring that he was now working on matters touching the benefit of his country. Okay, now that's quite a complex piece of text, and there is more to come. Well, let's just focus in on a few of these words. First of all, Renaissance. Now, a Renaissance is a new growth of activity or interest in something, especially art, literature, or music. So if a particular theme, if a particular style of art or music or literature takes hold and starts to grow, they can become a renaissance. Okay, so when a certain style of something suddenly becomes popular and lots of people are doing it, we say it's a renaissance. So it's a particular style that has of art or literature that starts and grows. Okay? Legacy. A legacy is something that is part of your history or that remains from an earlier time. So something you should be proud of, something that you've left behind for future generations to remember you by or to have access to. So a legacy can be an object, it can be an idea, anything at all that helps people remember something that you have achieved. Scholarship. Scholarship is money. It's an amount of money given by a school, college, university, or other organisation to pay for your studies, to pay for the studies of someone with great ability, but not much money. Scholarships are quite popular in America at the moment, where if you're particularly good at a sport, a university will give you a scholarship to go to university to play that sport for them, whether it be American football, basketball, or so on. Okay, so it's when your education is paid for because of your talent, whether it's academic talent, musical talent, sports talent, whatever it is. If you're particularly talented in something, you might get a scholarship to university. Okay, so this part of the biography gives us a little introduction, So a very brief introduction of who Christopher Marlowe was. It says when he was born, well, approximately, it actually says the date he was christened or baptized. So we don't know exactly what day he was born, but it would have been close to that date. We know where he was educated. And then we've got this paragraph here that the university hesitated in granting him his master's. That means they weren't sure whether they should give it him or not. But then a letter arrived from the government, from the Privy Council, which is part of the government, declaring that he was now working on matters touching the benefit of his country. So that implies that he was working for the Queen. He was working for the government on some sort of mission. Okay, we'll find out a little bit more of that. Now, the nature of Marlowe's service to England was not specified by the council, but the letter sent to Cambridge has provoked abundant speculation, notably the theory that Marlowe had become a secret agent working for Sir Francis Walsingham's intelligence service. With scant hard evidence and rampant speculation, the mystery surrounding Marlowe's secret service to the Queen is likely to remain. But spy or not, after attaining his master's degree, Marlowe moved to London and took up writing full time. After 1587, Marlowe was in London, writing for the theatre, and probably also engaging himself occasionally in government service. What is thought to be his first play, Dido, Queen of Carthage, was written while he was still a student at Cambridge. Okay, so a little bit more. There's speculation that he might have been a spy, but no evidence. So with scant hard evidence. So there's no proof of it, but because the university received this letter to say he was in service to England, in service to his country, many people have wondered if he was actually a spy. But let's pick out some of these words. Abundant. Abundant means available in large quantities. Okay, if there's lots of it. Okay, if there's a shortage, it's not abundant. But if there's lots and lots of it, so at the start of lockdown, toilet roll was not abundant. There wasn't lots and lots. It was disappearing off the shelves. But abundant if it's lots and lots of something. Okay. Speculation. Now, speculation is the forming of a theory or conjecture without firm evidence. It's someone's idea. They think it might be, but there's no proof. Okay, so to speculate about something means to come up with an idea without any real evidence that it's true. And rampant. Now, especially if something unwelcome, it's flourishing or spreading unchecked. So something that grows almost out of control. The spread of COVID was rampant. Thankfully now, with the vaccinations and things, we seem to be more under control. But rampant means spreading or growing without anyone stopping it, and usually something quite unwelcome. Okay, right, let's move on. Elizabethan theatre was split into three genres: history, tragedy, and comedy. Marlowe only wrote histories and tragedies. His histories included Dido, Queen of Carthage, Edward II, Hero and Leander, and Tamburlaine the Great. The Jew of Malta and the tragical history of Dr. Faustus were his tragedies. Now, Marlowe's most famous play is the tragical history of Dr. Faustus. It is the first dramatized version of the Faust legend, in which a man sells his soul to the devil in exchange for knowledge and power. The constant rumours of Marlowe's atheism finally caught up with him on Sunday, May 20th, 1593, and he was arrested for just that crime. Atheism, or heresy, was a serious offence for which the penalty was burning at the stake. Despite the gravity of the charge, however, he was not jailed or tortured, but was released on the condition that he reported daily to an officer of the court. Okay, so I'll pick out the words first, and then we'll look at the whole paragraphs. So Elizabethan, that means relating to or characteristics of the reign of Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth I, not our current queen. So Elizabethan we're talking the 1600s. Okay, so that's the Elizabethan times, back in the 1600s. Dramatized. Dramatize is to adapt or to rewrite a novel or story to become a play. Okay, so we've turned a story into a play script. That's to dramatize something. And heresy is belief or opinion contrary to opposite to orthodox religion, especially Christian. Okay, so people who don't believe in God or openly say would have been accused of heresy, or atheism, which is not believing in a God. Nowadays, people have a free choice to believe what they like, and saying we should respect anyone's choices. But in those days, not believing in God was seen as a crime. So we've got Marlowe writing his histories and tragedies. Okay, histories are based on fact, so retelling of actual stories from history. Tragedies are sad stories. Comedies are funny stories. Okay, but Marlowe only wrote histories and tragedies. There's some of the ones he wrote, and then this identification that he was recognized, or it was rumored to be an atheist. And although he was found guilty of it, all he had to do was report daily to an officer of the court. He wasn't burnt at the stake, which was the normal punishment for that crime. On May 30th, however, Marlowe was killed by Ingram Fraser. Allegedly, after spending the day together with Marlowe in the lodging house, a fight broke out between Marlowe and Fraser over the bill, and Marlowe was stabbed in the forehead and killed. Conspiracy theories have abounded since Marlowe's atheism and alleged spy activities at the heart of the murder plots, but the real reason for Marlowe's death is still debated. What is not debated is Marlowe's literary importance, as he is Shakespeare's contemporary, and is second only to Shakespeare himself in the realm of Elizabethan tragic drama. Okay. So allegedly, used to convey that something is claimed to be the case or have taken place, although there's no proof. So allegedly you did something, allegedly he did this, allegedly he said that, but there's no evidence, there's no proof of it. Conspiracy theories. This is a belief that some covert but influential organization is responsible for an unexplained event. Conspiracy theories basically claim that governments or powerful things are doing things that are unexplained. For example, there is a conspiracy theory that the American government has covered up alien landings on planet Earth. There is a conspiracy theory that we have never landed on the moon. And again, it's the government who staged it in a movie theater. There are all sorts of conspiracy theories, people believing unusual or unexplained events by saying powerful organizations or powerful governments have staged it or created this or made it up. Okay? Generally speaking, these things are completely untrue. Contemporary. So Marlowe was Shakespeare's contemporary. It means a person existing at the same time as. So Marlowe was an author and he was living around the same time as Shakespeare. So he was his contemporary. Okay, so this tells us allegedly how Marlowe died. He was stabbed during a fight at a lodging house over the bill. Some people believe it was because of his atheism. Some people because it was something to do with his life as a spy, but nobody really knows. So his death is still debated. It's still discussed. No one actually knows why the fight broke out, whether it was something more sinister or maybe it was simply because of the bill. We simply don't know. What we do know is Marlowe was a great writer and only second to Shakespeare in that period of time for writing tragic dramas. Okay, right. Your short write task is all about the words you have just seen. I'd like you to try and write sentences using some of the key vocabulary we've pulled out. Challenge yourself. How many can you fit into a single sentence and it still makes sense? You can use parenthesis. Remember, there's 3 ways to denote parenthesis. We can use our hyphens, we can use our brackets, or we can use commas. Okay, here's a reminder of the words. If you can't remember the meanings, remember, you can go back through the video or you can check with a dictionary or online. But there you go. Quite a few. Oops, one too far there. There we go. So there's your words. See how many of those you can get into sentences. See how many words you can get into a single sentence. But most importantly, make sure it makes sense. The idea behind this task is for me to see that you understand these words. If they're words you're not clear about, look them up, but don't just use them randomly unless it makes sense to you. Okay, well, that's it for the English for today. Take care of yourselves, look after those around you, and I will see you all soon.